All right, y'all. We're heading to see the family today. What do you think about that? And we have a little bit of a surprise for everybody today. This is going to be a funny one. I got to travel through Columbus on my way to visit the family today, and said, I wonder what's on the way. And I found a pretty interesting statue along the way that's definitely worth us stopping and taking a look at. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. It is cold here in Ohio. I'm telling you, I knew it was going to be cold, but geez, it's been windy cold. But at least there's no snow. Hopefully on Christmas Day we'll get a little bit of that. Here's another one of those classic houses. We're actually out taking Joff for a morning walk because we have a long, probably 2.5 hour drive, I would guess, to where I live, and we're gonna make a few stops along the way, but we wanted to give him a chance to gas out a little bit. Nice bird feeder. Those feed silos over there, that's pretty much where, this is a pretty heavy farmland out here, and that's where everybody gets their feed for their animals. We're gonna take this trail around, show you guys a pretty ancient cemetery. Now the cemetery that we're gonna go see is actually the Founders Cemetery. It's from the early 1800s. Now, like I've been telling you, we have a few stops to make along the way, and one of them I'm going to make a surprise because it's just too cool, and I know you guys will love it. But the other one is just kind of a brief little roadside attraction I read about, and something on the Yelp actually made me decide to stop by and show you guys this. So when we get there, I'll actually, maybe what they mentioned on the Yelp will actually happen. If not, I'll tell you why. Well, it's been great, Granville, but we're gonna call it a day with you. Until next time, time for us to head off to good old Troy, Ohio. And here's the first cemetery. Look at this. Old Colony Burying Ground. (1805), the pioneering cemetery in Granville. That one's kind of creepy. It looks like an old column, an old Roman column, but it looks like it's been burned and broken in half in ruins. Right here at the pet market, Mr. Bill's hanging out in the window up there. Old Saturday Night Live. That's an interesting house for the neighborhood. It's painted yellow with white trim. The garage door is purple, and then there's this interesting metal statue right here in the front. Kind of has a bird, has an address. It's very interesting, with, of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes Buckeye there. This is actually the drum head that Seth drew for my band a few years ago, probably 10 years ago. And just so nobody's sad they didn't get to see it, there's the chocolate milk. Look, it's expanded. The holes popped out on the side. Well, we're on our way to roadside attraction number 1 of the day. You almost had an opportunity to see the world's largest basket. It's actually an office building, but the office building's been closed and nothing's in there. And we actually thought, since it was way out of the way, that the things that we're going to see today are a little bit better. Teen church. Well, the roadside attraction that we came to see doesn't appear to be here. It was actually a spine tree. So I'm going to go in the chiropractic office and I'm going to find out what happened. Well, I'm going to show you. It's now no longer here. Well, this is part of what we came to see, and what actually happened, they said, was they used to have a dead tree that was in the front of this chiropractic business, and the tree they had carved into a spine. And they were just telling me that just last week they dug out the rest of the stump because it actually got tree ants and it actually cracked and started to break. So we actually got here after the roadside attraction is kind of gone, but
kind of crumbled.
Yeah. But one of the funny things I saw online was that people said when they would stop to take pictures with it, the doctor, Dr. Ryan, would come running out and give them a keychain of a spine of the tree. So that's it. Gosh, we didn't get to see it in all its glory, but that's what's left of it. They said they're going to try and do another one.
Part of my yard. It was part of my backyard.
Oh wow. Thank you for letting me see it at least. That's so cool. I love seeing stuff like that. Well, like I mentioned, inside, they said that if you were out there taking pictures or anything of the spine tree at one point, the doctor would come running out. And I mentioned that while I was inside, and they said, yeah, that the old doctor did used to do that. And I go, well, what happened to that doctor? And they said, he was convicted yesterday. I'll leave it at that. But the spine tree is no more. What's left is what we saw. They did say they're going to try and build another one, though. Well, now we're on our way to our next stop, and it's actually right in the heart of Columbus, and this we know is not going to be gone. This is a statue of an icon. All right, we are right in the heart of Columbus right now. We're actually at the convention center, and I had to do this. There's a handful of you that are probably right now screaming at the TV because you know what I'm going to do. I grew up in a household, my stepdad was actually not a bodybuilder, but he lifted weights every night. We had a whole weight set up, and he always wore a shirt with the classic Venice Beach weightlifting logo, which was Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they actually have a really, really strong history here in Columbus with Arnold Schwarzenegger. They actually have a statue that I'm going to show you right now. Well, there it is. A larger-than-life statue dedicated to the man himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, the whole story with Arnold and Columbus is actually really fascinating. You see, of course, most of you know Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator and all of his action movies, and a lot of you know that he was in Pumping Iron before that, and he was actually a world-renowned, actually the greatest bodybuilding champion of all time. He set a world record for Mr. Olympia, and in 1969, a man here in Columbus was doing the World Weightlifting Championships, Jim Lorimer, and he decided he wanted to kind of branch it out a little bit further in 1970 and add bodybuilding. Now, he really wanted Arnold to be a part of this because Arnold was an up-and-coming star, and he was the biggest thing there was. Now, if you look at that, you can see all the signatures and everything, but on the other side, it actually says Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Olympia. Now, here's the thing. So Arnold was this larger-than-life figure at that time, like I said, and Jim said, I can't legitimize this without having Arnold as a part of it. The problem was that Arnold actually was already going to be doing a competition the day before in London, so he wasn't going to be able to participate. So Jim actually hired a private jet, flew Arnold directly from London to here to the Invitational for the very first time. Arnold won it. Arnold was so impressed with the professionalism and just like Jim as a person that he said, when I retire from bodybuilding, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do a competition every year. And true to his word, in 1975, Arnold Schwarzenegger came back here, found Jim Lorimer, and look at that, a plaque to Arnold. Came back, found him, and they did a handshake deal. And they ended up bringing, in 1976, 5 years of Mr. Olympia competitions. Then followed that up with a couple of years of Mr. World competitions, followed by a couple of years of Mr. Universe competitions. And then in 1989, you know, Arnold was this gigantic movie star. And he says, I want the competition to have my name. And so it then became the Arnold Invitational, the Arnold Classic as we know it here in Columbus. And what's really interesting about it is, a lot of people don't know this, but the Arnold invitational that takes place every year at the end of February, early parts of March, actually is larger than the Olympics. It actually draws 18,000 to 20,000 or more athletes. It has over 50 sports represented, and they're always looking for new sports to include. He's went out of his way to make this just the biggest sporting event, not only in the nation, but like I said, in the world. And Arnold shows up every single year and actually makes it a point. He doesn't announce when he's going to do it, but he makes it a point to show up at every single athletic competition. And this has actually become so big that other states and other cities all over the world have requested to buy the rights to move it from Columbus, and Arnold is actually very loyal and doesn't want to do that, and still has Lorimer putting on the event every year. And like I said, Arnold, to my knowledge, has never missed the event, and they've actually, I believe, franchised it to an extent, so now in like Scotland and various other places, they actually have a similar Arnold Invitational as well. Now, if you've never seen Pumping Iron, I highly recommend it. Not only is it about bodybuilding, but it's actually a very good glimpse into Arnold's personality and his character at the time. And if you see just the interactions between him and Lou Ferrigno, it's very interesting because Arnold was never defeated in this competition, and yet Lou would always show up, always trying. And right there you'll see it says, "Reach for the next goal, never stop dreaming, and stay hungry. Life's joy is in the doing." And right here it says Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Austrian Oak, won the Mr. World Professional Bodybuilding Contest at Veterans Memorial Auditorium in September of 1970. He also won another 13 World Bodybuilding Championships, gaining worldwide fame as an action film star. He was businessman, investor, author, and served as chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports. 38th Governor of the great state of California, serving from 2002 to 2011. Now, what's interesting about that is that this statue, actually, like I said, has been here for quite a while, although only in Columbus. They actually moved it from its original location to here at the convention center. And this is where they said that it actually draws over 200,000 spectators every year. So there you go, a statue to Arnold. Now, a lot of you may not know this, but I'm actually a pretty big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I've always been an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. And part of the reason is, I think, because we share the same birthday. When I was a kid and you would always like look up your celebrity birthday, Arnold was always the one that I was the most proud to share a birthday with. I always loved The Terminator. I always loved Twins, just everything Schwarzenegger's in, all the way down to True Lies. I mean, I still think that is a classic movie. Well, so long, Arnold. We're off to Troy, off to see the family. Next stop, visiting my mom. This Ohio Bicentennial barn has been here as long as I can remember. Go ahead, go say hi to Mom. Well, there's Ellie Mae.
Mom, Ellie Mae, didn't I tell you John was coming?
Well, my mom has decided she is not going to be on camera, but we can show her house and you'll hear her voice, but she doesn't want to be on camera. These two buddies. There's Ellie Mae. And look who's chasing her around the house.
Was home passengers when she was 16 and died.
You playing with Ellie Mae? Puppy play time! Puppies go play! He's got a ball.
Me. There's John.
Well, my first night in Troy wouldn't be complete without having Marion's Pizza. Pretty much my favorite pizza. I also love Cassano, so I'll probably have that too, but we decided to have a family dinner with this. Like my mom said, it's always better to have too much than not enough. Well, there's Santa's house and there's our local movie theater. You can tell we're definitely in Troy, Ohio. Well, gang, we decided to come end the vlog in downtown Troy. This is actually the Troy Square. This is where I spent a lot of time, and I'll tell you why. Because my sister actually worked at a restaurant right over here on the corner, right there in front of us. It was called Taggart's, and she got me a job there as well. So when I was 14 years old, my sister and I used to spend our summers working there every day and every night. We actually worked the lunch shift and the evening shift because we were both extremely responsible, and they knew that we would always be there, and since we lived together, we would show up. So we actually worked right there, and on days I didn't have to work, my sister would bring me up here to the town square and I would hang out. There's our Christmas tree, and when it's not a Christmas tree, it's actually a big fountain, kind of like the fountain that you see in Chicago on Married with Children. And then, while I worked there at Taggart's, I saved up money, bought my first guitar, learned how to play guitar while I worked here, and I also saved up for my first car. Now what's actually pretty cool is that while I worked there one day, I came out to leave work, and this place right here, right in front of it, used to be a pharmacy, and it had been closed down, and our neighborhood music instrument store that sold guitars, the owner was actually out there, and he said, "Jordan, I just bought this place, I'm moving in over here." So I actually offered to come and help him paint the place. And so at 16 years old, I helped paint the inside of that place, and when they opened, he gave me a job. So there you go. Tomorrow maybe we'll come see it in the afternoon, and I don't know. I don't know if I'll be up in Troy tomorrow or not, if I'm gonna vlog Dayton, but I figured you guys might wanna see it. And here's a little bit of history about my town. Troy's Public Square. Miami County formed and Troy chosen as the county seat in 1807. So there you go. Goes all the way back to 1807. Well, gang, we're gonna call it a night. When I was younger and I was working up here, people used to hang out at this square at night, and we used to call them square squirrels. So I guess tonight I'm square squirreling, and I'm gonna call it a night from here in downtown Troy. My parents decided they don't want to be on the vlog. They support the vlog, they love the vlog, but they said, that's your thing and we don't want to take away from that. We don't want to be a distraction to that or anything, so you'll probably hear them on the vlog, but they don't want to be on the vlog, and I totally am going to respect that. But have a great night. I just wanted to explain that to you. I think my sister will be on the vlog. I'm sure my grandpa will be okay with being on the vlog or whatever. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed seeing the Arnold statue. What a weird situation with that spine tree. I mean, I thought I was going to see a great roadside attraction. I show up, find out that a gust of wind literally blew it over last week and it's in pieces, and that the man who was responsible for putting that thing up was actually convicted yesterday. Really weird story. But that's the beauty of vlogging, I guess. You never know what's gonna happen, and you never know how your day will turn out. So have a great night. Seth's gonna take off in the morning. I think I'm getting a rental car in the morning, and I'll go out and do some vlogging. Have a great night. We'll see y'all from Troy, Ohio. Goodbye.